Everyone, welcome to episode 2 where we are going to test the event loop. But before I get started on that, I'm going to talk a little bit about my setup and workflow. So I'm using Ubuntu 12.0 for doing everything inside of a terminal. In particular, I'm really just doing everything inside of Vim mostly. And so the way you can run commands inside of Vim is you do a : bang, and then you can say bang make, and that will compile everything. And then it'll take you to the shell, and then it'll prompt you by saying enter or type command to continue. So I'm just going to hit enter, and it takes me back to my session, my Vim session. And so what I've done is I've mapped (G), or the leader character, G, to run make and make run. So that'll put me in cave story just like that, and then when I hit escape, it takes me back to the shell, and then I can press enter or type any command to continue, and so this will bring me back. So I just wanted to clarify that when I jump and compile it really fast like that, that's what's happening. So this brings us to episode 2, problem. How do we actually know the event loop runs at 60 frames per second? So I kind of just threw the event loop together and kind of made you guys just trust that it would work. But I'd like to take this episode to show that it really does work. And it's important to test your code to make sure that small parts are working. Otherwise, if you have a small part break in a very big, complex beast, you're going to get really confused trying to find the bug. So let's go ahead and test it out in this episode. Alright, so let's open up GameCC, and then go down to our event loop. Here's our event loop. So the way I'm going to test it is just going to use a simple printf statement, where we're going to just say FPS is this value, where that value is going to be FPS. And the FPS, as we know, is equal to frames per second, or we could also calculate it as 1 over seconds per frame. And we can calculate seconds per frame as being 1,000 divided by 1,000. I'll just go ahead and make this a float. So we'll get the total elapsed time, which is going to be the STL get ticks minus the start time of this frame, and then divided by 1,000, and that'll give us the number of seconds per frame, and then we can get frames per second. And so I'm going to go ahead and try this out, see how it works. Let it run for a second. Okay, that's good enough. And we see that the FPS is indeed hanging around 60 frames per second. Up here it jumps up a little bit. SDL delay only promises 10 milliseconds or less of granularity, so that's probably where the error is coming from. And there's also some overhead in doing this calculation too, but that's probably not affecting it very much. Anyway, so yeah, hopefully this proves to you guys that we are indeed running it around 60 frames per second, and it is working how we want it to. So thank you for watching.